Hi, I'm Mark Villasana, proud SMU alumni and agency principal of Northwest Insurance Agency. Give me a call if you'd like to discuss your insurance or if you just want to discuss SMU football. My phone number is 214-352-5656, or you can email me at info@nwagencies.com. Pony up.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening, everyone. Got a lot to get to on this show. We are going in depth, looking ahead at official visit season, because it just seems like left and right, these 2026 prospects, yes, 2026, are setting those official visits, getting them lined up and getting them on the books. And it just seems like every single day we get a new official visitor to make sure we update that profile, get them on the books for SMU. So we'll talk a lot about that today. I do want to say we do have a new special going on at ontheponyexpress.com. You can join for just $1, and then you get a heavy discount on that annual subscription. So be sure to check that out today and join us for a year. And it is just an incredible deal, heavy discount again. So make sure you go to ontheponyexpress.com and do what so many have done, and that's join the message board. Chatting it up is one of the best things to do on the board with basketball rolling. And a big one we'll talk about as SMU does face Wake Forest, 5 p.m. Central on ACC Network inside Moody Coliseum, Saturday early evening in what is a pivotal game, as SMU has won 8 of their past 9, 5 straight in a row. So Andy Enfield and the Mustangs are cooking and making that NCAA tournament push. And before we get into those official visits, do want to remind you guys to check out our friends at the Thomas Auto Group as well. Big supporters of SMU and the On the Pony Express podcast. Get employee pricing on pre-owned and new vehicles when you head up 75 to McKinney to check out their dealerships at the Thomas Auto Group.
Shopping for a new car, truck, or SUV? Look no further than the Thomas Auto Group. Browse our selection of over 2,000 vehicles from 3 great brands.
Watch this.
All online and in a few simple steps. Just click on the vehicle you want, save big on the most popular brands, and drive away happy. Plus, all vehicles sold are backed by the Thomas Promise. Visit our website, thomasautogroup.com, or shop in-store at the Thomas Auto Group in McKinney, home of the Thomas Promise.
Yeah, appreciate them supporting us at On the Pony Express. And let's dive into those official visits. And we'll highlight some of them because they are behind paywall. And of course, some haven't been publicly set. But if you've been at ontheponyexpress.com, you can certainly find them there. So be sure to subscribe and join the site. But I do want to kind of share the layout of where the recruiting season is at. And SMU is at this point now where they got done with the January evaluation and contact period. They hosted junior days. They hosted many prospects and also went and saw them on campus at their high schools. And in some cases, they're allowed to go in home with those prospects. Rhett Lashley can't go in home with them, but the SMU coaching staff can as a whole go in home with those prospects. And what they were able to do is really try to get a best feel for the top prospects that not only are they interested in, but are also interested in SMU. I mean, this is a very difficult time to navigate it, because if you look at the recruiting calendar, it's January, and then these official visits get going in April and May and June. And then most kids these days are at least trying to make an initial decision by the beginning of their senior season. They want to be able to focus on their season and go from there. And so you have this January window where, I mean, so much can happen between now and then. On top of that, the Under Armour camps and 7-on-7 and other camps are starting to heat up. Under Armour Dallas is this weekend up at Melissa's new facility, so that'll be fun. we'll be out there with your coverage, of course. But the thing that the staff learned is who is interested, who made it to campus, who made them a priority. And that is where we're going to see these official visits come May and then June being the major months for SMU. And SMU is gearing up to host a May recruiting official visit weekend. It's going to be the first weekend of May. That's going to be kind of popping there for SMU. But one thing to keep an eye on too is that they have moved back the Pony Express weekend to the first weekend of June, June 6th. And then they're having what seems like a second big recruiting weekend, June 20th. So that's kind of how they're lining it up. They'll have their camps at the beginning of June as well. And of course, SMU will have spring football. They'll also be able to get out on the road and watch the prospects do their own spring football and their workouts and do all those things. So a lot can shift during this time. And next week, I am going to drop my first stab at the 2026 class predictions for SMU. And let me tell you, I've been doing this a while. It's a very good way to at least give you an idea of who the top targets are, who are in good enough shape that you can even put them in an initial 1 year out prediction piece. And then you'll see it maybe hit on some of them, hopefully a lot of them, just for me, but also for SMU. And then you'll see the fluidity of recruiting come into play. You know, there will be guys that they'll get a look at it in spring and they'll say, okay, all right, well, we're going to temper back, or the guys will heat up or what have you. So, and then of course you kind of have the wild card. There are players that, you know, maybe are being recruited by the top 5 programs in America, and then maybe they get cooled on, but be a really good player for SMU. So, there's all those sorts of different ways that this can go. But I'm going to drop my class prediction piece next week. So look for that On the Pony Express. Another reason to sign up on top of the AD search and basketball season and recruiting and all of that stuff. But all right, let's dive into the early rumblings around this May 2nd weekend. And I want to start with a prospect who I think kind of headlines it. And the interesting thing about him and this weekend is you are seeing a little bit of that poly nature come into this May 2nd weekend. But Papunga Toa Katoa is coming to town, making the quick drive over from Euless Trinity. And I lead off with him because he is a huge priority for Garen Justice, but also you're looking at a guy who SMU is really, I think, ramped up where it stands for him just as a whole, because they've been able to really, I think, just press the right buttons here. You see Oklahoma leading the on 3 RPM. I mean, truthfully, I think this is SMU, this is Texas. Oklahoma's in there. I just don't get the sense that he's going to leave the state in the end. I think SMU has really cemented itself as a true contender in this recruitment, and he's coming May 2nd. And this is where, you know, after all this work that Garen Justice has put in recruiting a guy like Katoa, or Toa, they just call him Toa, but this is where you can find out, hey, and I don't know actually why it's showing Oklahoma on your screen, but it's SMU as the on 3 RPM leader now. But Garen Justice has put in so much time with Toa, and this is where you can kind of, I think you get at a point where you can kind of squeeze him a little bit and say, hey, you know, are you in? Are you out? What's kind of your plan? Because he has a top 5 that is going to, you know, jump off the page at you. It's Oklahoma, it's Tennessee, it's Texas A&M. And if that's the case, SMU probably doesn't want to go into the summer hoping that even if you get a silent commitment, he goes public with it. You want to pop Toa this weekend, May 2nd, when you're hosting him. And then you're not only, you know, just hosting Toa, you're hosting another Polynesian player in Tiki Hala, who announced that he's locked in an official visit, 4-star defensive lineman from Bastrop, Texas, which is really becoming a good. They haven't landed anybody from Bastrop, so it's not that feeder program, but there's some ties with Bastrop and getting these prospects over to SMU. They hosted Weston Nielsen, their really impressive 2027 quarterback. Austin Moylan is a really impressive edge linebacker who's in the 27 class as well. But Tiki Hala is in 26 and 4-star prospect, has some of the top programs in the country offering him and after him. And Texas is one of those. Notre Dame, USC is in the mix. He did check out USC last month, had a great time over there and in Los Angeles. And I think this is where, Texas is at the top. SMU's chasing them right now. I would say the Longhorns have just done a really good job, and they're right down the street, basically from Bastrop. So Rhett Lashley's taken a pretty big role in this one, along with Calvin Thibodeau and Scott Simon. So they're going to keep chipping away at Tiki Hala. But those are just two of the prospects that are coming in that May 2nd weekend. I think that's kind of going to be a sneaky good weekend as some players get to campus and they look to really get with some of these top prospects early and find out what's going on in their recruitments and seeing if SMU can close the deal on them. But with that, there is some major prospects who have locked in their official visits for the June 6th Pony Express weekend. And one prospect who was probably the first to do it was a very familiar face in Zayden Crimpen, 4-star offensive lineman from Prosper High School, who's kind of in that same boat as Toa, been a top target for SMU for quite some time, been among the guys that SMU has recruited very, very hard and really pushed for in a big way. And I think he's, again, somebody that if he doesn't commit on this weekend, you've got to kind of feel like, and when I say commit, guys, just to kind of share with you guys a little bit behind the scenes, there were a couple guys like Dramico Green who committed on his recruiting weekend. I'd have to really go back and look, but there are some players who will commit to SMU and then go public with their commitment at a later time. Marky and Akor is another one that I recall doing that. So it's about really coming away with that silent commitment in a way, because guys are going to want to do their own thing. I could totally see Zayden Crimpen and a guy like Jake Johnson, his Prosper teammate, probably doing some 4th of July announcement. I'm not saying that's whether they're going to announce. I'm just saying I could see two teammates teaming up to do something like that. And Jake Johnson is another Prosper standout who is going to be on that Pony Express weekend. And he's assembled some nice offers as of late. Baylor, TCU jump into the fold. But with Zayden, he's another guy who has the who's who of the programs after him. And I'm intrigued to watch him at the Under Armour Dallas camp. We saw him last year at UA Dallas, one of the more impressive prospects there. And with Zayden, he's got Michigan, he's got Clemson in there that he wants to visit, Texas A&M, and then you have Michigan hosting him June 20th. LSU set to host him May 31st. And for Zayden, he's one of those that you don't want him to. I mean, you really don't want to see him take that Michigan visit. But if he does, that's where you've got to start pushing on other guys. And the good thing with Garen Justice's offensive line group, and I feel like we've talked a lot about the trenches overall, which is a good thing for SMU, but he's really teed up so many different prospects over the course of this 2026 class that are going to be on campus for official visits. I mean, you have seen a really impressive bunch that was on campus for junior days, and they're backing that up by coming to then check out the program for official visits afterwards. I mean, you think about, guys like Drew Evers, you think about guys like John Turntine, who's probably going to officially visit SMU. You look at Noah Best, who we'll talk about in a little bit. There are a lot of players that SMU's really positioned themselves well for when it comes to bringing them on campus for an official visit. And you want to see the timeline line up as best you can so that you can come away with commitments, and also that you can go ahead and keep working down your list and keep working on all of those things so that you don't come up with a snake eyes scenario. In a worst case, you don't come up with, a chance that you're going to be, without a strong offensive line class, which is I think they will. I really do think that that's probably going to be the bell cow position of this recruiting haul in all likelihood. But that's where I'll be interested to see how they play it in a sense, because you do have some other programs that are pushing and have official visits set. You want to see these guys at least silently behind the scenes make a decision and then back it up with their action by going public after that. So this Pony Express weekend shaping up to be a big one, though, like I said. And if you go to the trenches, you look at another player who's coming to town, and SMU going out of state. And this is kind of the theme with a lot of this in the trenches is they are scouring the country to recruit defensive linemen and offensive linemen, but in particular defensive linemen. And they already have a commitment from Yaya God, who's going to be on campus for this weekend to help recruit, as well as Xavier Barnett, the 4-star wide receiver commitment, will be back on campus to help recruit. But Dakota Dixon is somebody that SMU does have an official visit locked in. He did take a visit to Notre Dame earlier this spring. I'll be interested to see how this one plays out. SMU went out and saw him, did in-home visits. He was really impressive. 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 9 quarterback hurries, 3 PBUs in 11 games last year. He's a big body. He's going to take up a lot of space and really be able to affect the middle of a defense. And I think that's important. That's what you want to see from some of these guys in the middle. And SMU's done a good job of getting him locked in with an official visit, a guy from all the way out west. SMU's done a nice job building a pipeline of these players. And that's what you want to see. I mean, truthfully, that you want to build up some of these major metros and some of these major overall areas that can, feed really well to SMU by just jumping on a quick flight. That's where they can do a really good job of building some of these pipelines. You look at Atlanta, you look at Southern California, and you look at, of course, the state of Texas. That's where SMU has done a really nice job of making some moves. And so I think that's where you continue to go out and find these guys that can positively impact your program. And that's what SMU is trying to do with a guy like Dakota. So a big priority coming into town for SMU. I do want to highlight 2 other guys on this June 6th weekend. And again, there will be other players that'll be there. But I don't want to make this all about the trenches. But Frisco Panther Creek safety Donovan Webb, who is one of the top prospects in the entire country, just by the offers, the tape. I think he's kind of slept on from a rankings perspective. I believe I'm going to see him this weekend at Under Armour Dallas. And just for me, from everything I've heard about him, would love to see him, be on the rise a little bit after that camp. But Donovan Webb will be on campus for this June 6th weekend. And he's right up there with the priorities for Scott Simons when it comes to what he's looking for in a safety and the safeties he's after overall. Again, just a top tier priority for him and just what he likes and what he really, prioritizes when it comes to, putting together a safety. That's what Donovan Webb has on his resume. He's a top 35 safety in the country. He's a really, really impressive young man from what I understand. I actually haven't gotten too much time around him just overall, as funny as that is, being as close to Panther Creek as I am. But this fall was kind of just crazy with what SMU was doing in football, that it kind of just took over. And I'd like to get over there for spring ball. But Auburn, Colorado, Houston, Nebraska, Purdue, and USC are among his offers. He's locked in a June 6th official visit to SMU. And Arizona, Baylor, LSU, Ohio State, and Texas Tech are also in the mix. But Scott Simons has made him a huge priority. He is as big of a target for SMU as it gets. And there's no question about it that they are after him in a big way and hoping to get him on board with that weekend visit. And then I'll flip over to the wide receiver position. And I think quietly, I mean, SMU flipped Isaiah Robertson from Texas Tech. And I kind of think he's not as, he's bigger than Isaiah Robertson, but I think his physicality really stands out to me in a similar way. But Algernon Miles has been to SMU quite a few times. Kaufman, wide receiver, 6'3", 198, top 100 wide receiver in the country, has an Oklahoma offer, has Texas Tech, USC, Kansas. The Sooners are really making a big press here. They are all over him. And this is a player who has been to SMU multiple times and seems pretty comfortable there. And I believe he made it to junior day. I'll have to go back and check, but I'm 99.9% sure he made it to junior day this past month. So a really big target for SMU and somebody that is, I think, as they've evolved, I think, yeah, he did make it to junior day, but I really think he's somebody that has really evolved, or excuse me, I think what SMU is targeting in this class has really evolved over the last year. They've really started to go after these players that have that 6'3", that's at least 6'1" size. You know, they're always going to find a slot. They're always going to try to do that, but they've really prioritized getting bigger, faster, and stronger on the outside. I think when they self-scouted, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, talking with Rob Likens during the National Signing Day event, he really, point blank said, we need somebody to step up on the outside. And so that's why they're going after so many outside receivers. And we'll talk about another highly touted prospect at the end of the podcast who dropped some news on this Friday, actually, as I'm recording. But SMU is in a really good position for Algernon Miles. If they're a team that's going to kind of surprise the Sooners in a sense, it would be SMU, in my opinion, at least, with where they've been able to, make a move with him and just step up as a whole. I'd be surprised if they're not right there at the end. I'm not ready to say they're going to get him or anything just yet, but they are going to be right in the mix for Algernon Miles, one of the top prospects in the state of Texas at the wide receiver position, at least in my opinion. I know that, I mean, he's ranked well. I mean, you're an 87 plus, and ESPN still needs to rank him, but I mean, physically, I like the guys with size. I'm starting to kind of, just prioritize getting that size out there a little bit, especially I think in this league. SMU kind of saw it a little bit. There are some big gazelles at receiver in the ACC, and SMU needs to find some of them as well. So with that, guys, before we kind of continue on our run here, talking about SMU's official visits getting set, do want to remind you guys that we're presented by our friends at StatusJet. StatusJet.com. Reach out to David Henry and his team today. There are some key SMU basketball games still left that you can schedule. You can get StatusJet to fly you up there. And man, what an experience it'd be to go up to a Notre Dame, to hit some of these other, you go right into Tallahassee if you want. StatusJet can hook you up with that. And if you mention On the Pony Express, they will hit you with a discount on a round trip flight. So make sure you reach out to StatusJet today. Give them a call or email them or reach out on their form on their website, and we will get you all hooked up with them. They're the best for that reason. So make sure you check them out today. All right, there is another official visit weekend in June that we're going to tee up for you guys as well, and a couple key visitors that we're just locked in that we want to touch on, of course, because they are some big dogs. But I do want to start with Noah Best, one of the top prospects on SMU's list, is set to be at SMU that weekend. He's a big interior offensive lineman. I really like his frame. He really just has a lot of space to put weight on. And I say that as he's listed 6'3", 290. I think we'll see him at Under Armour this weekend. But when you look at his size, when you look at his body, he looks like he's going to be able to pack on a ton of weight. Like if he's not 290, I think it might even add up a little bit, but he really has the frame to really become a massive human being if he is in fact 290, because he does have so much size and strength to him overall. So really looking forward to seeing what SMU can do in the Noah Best recruitment, because they are battling Oklahoma, who has that really just that tie to Oklahoma, it seems like, throughout his recruitment. So, but he's also always been around SMU. I mean, I think he made 2 or 3 games this year, and he was back at junior day. He was all smiles leaving it. He's one of the highest rated 3 stars in the state of Texas. So somebody that is well thought of, could move up as a senior, things like that. Projects well at center, I would say. And Texas did host him as well. And we'll see how things are going as the spring unfolds there, because he's got some really high end offers, and he's somebody that Karen Justice would love to round out his group with, and it'd be a massive recruiting win for SMU. We go back to the secondary, though, and we go down to Conroe, Texas. SMU signed Jermico Green out of Conroe this past cycle, and Xavier Harmon is one of the top prospects on the board for Ricky Hunley. He came up to campus for his first visit, loved it, quickly locked in an official visit. He's got a bunch of programs after him, but SMU is getting the last official visit. That is something that is certainly noteworthy when it comes to his recruitment. I'm not a huge proponent of, the last official visit means what it used to mean, but he is going to be taking an official visit to SMU June 20th. That is something to most certainly watch, as SMU will get that last crack at him, and we'll see how things go with him, as he is one of the top risers this month, without a doubt, on the recruiting trail, picking up numerous offers from around the country, and is set to get to SMU at the end of June. He's got Arkansas, TCU, Utah, and Kansas State in there as well. But man, that June, that last weekend of June is really shaping up for SMU to be a strong weekend, just in terms of key targets. Like when you look at making a last minute push to, just really kind of nail it, that would be a weekend that will really, I think, have an opportunity to take SMU's class to the next level if it all pans out. And staying in the Houston area, our last prospect to touch on that has locked in an official visit, we go to Daryl Campbell, big kind of refrigerator type prospect in the middle. SMU hosted him for junior day, really liked it. They're fresh off offering last month. They're really in a nice position here for the Katy Paytal defensive lineman. Same high school as Alex Kilgore, current SMU linebacker. And the Mustangs have really turned up the heat here. I think this is a 3-way in-state recruiting battle with SMU, Houston, and Texas Tech. It's just my opinion, trying to read the tea leaves here. But he is set to officially visit SMU that January 20th weekend. So that'll be something to keep an eye on as SMU looks to really make a statement with that final recruiting weekend, and make a statement before these guys really get down to making decisions for the most part. And Daryl Campbell is somebody that really had a nice time at that junior day that he came to for SMU. So be keeping an eye on him. And I want you guys to keep an eye on our friends at Rhoback.com. Make sure you check out their gear. Obviously, they've got the SMU collection that they want you to see. They've done a great job getting, it feels like, everybody outfitted. Pony Express 20 is the code. That's 20% off your order at rhoback.com. First time customers only. But Rhoback really has been able to expand all the things that they do. And it is an impressive collection of everyday shorts, or their Delta Performance pants. They're the perfect pairing for polos and pullovers and all the different things that you can get with with Roback. I mean, they really have done a tremendous job of giving you that entire lineup to choose from. And that's where I think I'm going to break through on the next round of things. I've got, the shorts, but the pants really are, they look incredibly comfortable. The elastic waistband's nice. I think they're going to be great for traveling. We've got a couple trips up this spring and summer, so looking forward to checking that out. And if you support Roback, who knows? They might partner with an SMU athlete. They're starting to get into the NIL space, sign some partnerships and things like that. So use code PonyExpress20, that's 20, on roback.com for a 20% off order, 20% off offer for all new customers. That's RHOBACK.com. Polos, shorts, pullovers, hoodies, check them out. PonyExpress20 is the code. So appreciate Roback for their support of the On the Pony Express podcast. All right. One piece of breaking news into the podcast that's happened just before I was going to record, so I'm glad I saw it. But there is a new top target for SMU in the class of 2026. And that is now DeSoto wide receiver Boobie Feaster. Ethan Feaster is now a member of the class of 2026 and a prospect that SMU has been after for quite some time. They've hosted him and they've been able to really just, I think, just kind of steadily recruit him. And that's important. That I don't think they've really gone all out. They want to try to peak at the right time. And now that he's a class of 2026 prospect, the race can kind of go on. He did tell On3 Steve Wiltfong that he plans to take an SMU official visit. So a really big opportunity for SMU to get in there and make some waves. And they're battling the likes of LSU and Texas and USC and others, but Oklahoma's made a surge as well. SMU now, top 100 prospect locally in the state of Texas, right in your backyard. You'd love to see SMU really make a move here late and make it happen if they can. So we'll be keeping a close eye on Boobie Feaster as he now heads down that college decision-making process and tries to figure out where he wants to spend his next 3 to 4 years, as they all say. So look, that's kind of the rundown on some early official visits to watch. It's not everybody. I'm going to drop that class prediction piece, like I said, and really kind of attack that and share with you guys more on where things are headed on this 2026 class, which I think has the opportunity to be a really impressive haul for SMU. I mean, they have done a really nice job of getting guys on campus, getting them in the mix early on, and this will be that residual effect that you would hope the college football playoff appearance and the ACC championship appearance has. This is where you think that you can really make some waves and sign a top 25 class. I mean, that should be the goal for SMU. They should be signing top 25 classes, and they should be signing impressive transfer hauls to kind of check the rest of the boxes for the roster year in, year out. So that's where Rhett Lashley wants to get to. And look, before we know it, spring football will be here, and some of these guys will be hitting campus to watch practice as well. So they're expecting spring football to start right at the end of March. So right after spring break, they'll be back on the field, and they will be wrapped up by the end of April, I'm told. So be sure to sign up for On the Pony Express today. Just $1 for your first week, and then a heavy discount for the rest of your year. So make sure you join us. Tons happening on the message board. Really appreciate everybody who's jumped on board, and we're looking forward to spending plenty of time with you guys over these coming months and years at ontheponyexpress.com. So I appreciate you guys listening to this edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone, and enjoy SMU Wake, 5 p.m. Central on ACC Network. We'll have your coverage at Moody Coliseum as the Mustangs look to keep things rolling in ACC play. So thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody.
Follow us on your socials on X at SMU on 3 and on Instagram at on3SMU.
And keep it locked to ontheponyexpress.com for more coverage.